What's up, Run Fam? Welcome back. I'm Lucas with Running Warehouse, and this time we're looking at New Balance's SuperComp family of carbon-plated road models. The SuperComp Elite V5, SuperComp Pacer V2, and SuperComp Trainer V3. Now to New Balance, SuperComp, or let's abbreviate it SC, that means their highest performance, pretty much guaranteeing carbon fiber plates and some super foam. That's true for all three of these. Slight exception with the Trainer, it's not 100% super foam, it's a blend, but we can circle back to that. What are they for? How are you going to use them? They all have full-length carbon fiber plates. You know, that helps with forward propulsion. It also helps to kind of stabilize the foam that you're standing on. But what are they made for? The Elite V5 and the Pacer V2 are created for racing full marathons or shorter. I feel like for a full marathon, 26.2 miles, most folks are going to lean towards the Elite because it's giving you more foam between your foot and the ground, so more comfort. It also feels a little squishier, bouncier to me between these two. Whereas the Pacer, of course, it can do that full marathon, but I think it's going to lean even more, be better suited at the 5K, 10K half marathon side of the equation. Just because it's lower to the ground, feeling a little bit more connected and a little bit more agile on those relatively shorter distances for cornering at speed. Then, you know, with the Trainer, obviously appropriately named for training, it's not necessarily significantly taller than the Elite, but there is just more volume of foam here. It's a broader base of foam that you're on, and just that height and all of that foam is designed to help prevent your body from getting beaten up by the long miles. So all three full-length carbon fiber plates, slightly different use cases even though there's some overlap. I'll say because the Trainer is an excellent shoe for a regular long run, plenty of folks are using that for their marathons if they want to lean into that steadier comfort side of the performance equation. Whereas I'm looking here at the Elite and the Pacer for the fastest possible racing. And then I also want to say that, of course, plenty of experienced runners are using their racing shoes maybe once or twice a week in their regular training if they're doing fast speed work, track interval repeats. You'll see these being used there too. So there's overlap on the Venn diagram, but that's the basic idea. Taking a closer look at their differences, the Pacer is the lowest to the ground here, so it feels the most connected and the most agile. More similar, at least in spirit, to a classic racing flat of the past, just with modern premium materials. And, you know, let's not get it twisted, there is a good amount of foam underfoot here, not like a classic flat, just more similar to that. The Elite is 5 millimeters taller than the Pacer on paper, but it feels like more than that on foot. Then again, I already mentioned the Trainer, not necessarily that much taller than the Elite, but it is more foam, particularly under your arch and your forefoot. Not surprisingly, the Trainer is a full 2.5 ounces heavier than these other two. Again, that's by design. With the Elite V5 being the most recent update, it's actually fractionally lighter weight than the Pacer. It's close enough to think of these as identical weight, but I found that noteworthy that despite this being taller, it is coming in just a little bit less weight even than the Pacer. To me, the experience in these shoes is a distinguishing characteristic. The foam in the Elite V5 feels the most different from the others. It does have a little bit more squish and bounce. It feels more propulsive. To me, it actually feels the most comfortable, but it comes at a trade-off of a little bit less steadiness. Part of that comes from this narrower, more curved shape that you're on top of, where you can actually see, many racing shoes are like this, you can actually see how this fabric here is not fully supported over the foam platform. By comparison, that straighter and broader shape of the Pacer, and especially of the Trainer, that's just going to help you feel more planted and steady and predictable. Other minor differences, I did notice the most generous kind of overall fit, especially through the forefoot here at your toe joints. in the Trainer, and I felt pretty perfect heel lockdown in both the Pacer and the Trainer. Not saying that the heel lockdown in the Elite was bad, definitely good for its category. I felt secure here, but I could tell even more security here in the Pacer and the Trainer. Recapping it all, the Trainer has that super foam, normal foam blend to blend performance with regular weekly training. Then you've got your Pinnacle Racing Options 1A and 1B, just with different experiences underfoot. Of course, you can find all three of these right here at Running Warehouse in their current colors. Until next time, keep showing up. Y'all be good to each other, and we'll catch you in the next one.